Okay, and go live. Welcome, everyone. And we're actually a minute early, which is great as always. Tubbs, how was your weekend?
Grant, it was actually quiet. Everyone's weekend's quiet nowadays.
Well,
Look at my
this
hair. Look at this fucking thing though. It's like mine was fucking on tonight, kid.
so like we've got a we've got a kind of a big show ahead, don't we?
Yeah.
We've got some action figure news. We've obviously got to chat about WandaVision, which is now over, sadly. There will be massive spoilers in that.
Yes.
And
Massive.
our topic for the week that we do a little discussion about every time is we're going to do some chat on some sidekicks and villains getting their own movies, which seems to be a thing in Hollywood nowadays. So
Yeah, but even just this week alone, it's been a pretty busy week in the old pop culture scheme of things, isn't it?
yeah, and like figure
In general.
figure wise, we've got lots of stuff as well. We've got DC Justice League figures were leaked, which is always fun when stuff leaks. And yeah, so we've talked enough rubbish and shite now. So what we're going to start with is show and tell. So Tubbs,
Fine.
show and tell. What have you
Oh,
got for?
that kind of show and tell.
No, no.
Right. Okay.
So like this is going to be
I
like
have a new little toy here.
every week we're going to like have action figures and stuff that we're going to show to the camera,
I
and
don't know who glitched out.
we're going to have technical issues as well. So let's just roll with that. So Tubbs, what figure or thing did
Yeah.
you have this week?
Well, I have this lovely, lovely fucker right here. As in, I don't know if you can see him glaring on the camera there.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I can see him there.
Yeah, it is
So
the Earth
Tubbs,
One Batman Devastator from
so like
the DC McFarlane multiverse range.
so like when I would
He's
if
a
I saw
heavy
that,
son of a bitch.
yeah, I've seen him before. If I saw that in the pegs at his shop now, I would think that was Doomsday. So why is it Batman?
See, this is the thing, all right. Um, and even for myself, for the longest time before I actually sat down and kind of like looked into it and read the comics, a lot of people get him mixed up with Doomsday because he is infected with the Doomsday virus. But basically, the long and short of the origins of this character is basically Superman goes rogue and kills like breaks of people, kills Lois Lane, and basically, do you ever hear? You've always heard it in DC. Batman has contingency plans for all his fellow Justice Leaguers. In
Yeah,
this version, he he fights Superman with a spear, Kryptonian spear, if I remember correctly. And in the midst of it, Superman lasers his entire hand off, and kind of
as
like,
you do.
yeah, as you do, and then kind of like gives him a bucket of mouth. Like he basically talks shit to him before before he kills him. But then Batman has the Doomsday virus on him, and he injects himself with it, becomes the Devastator, and fucking kills Superman. But in the madness of it, he ends up going into all like the different universes trying to kill the other Superman. And the longer he stays as Devastator, he becomes a little more fractured and broken.
That actually
Um,
sounds really cool.
yeah. So anybody, and then I can't. I'd have to, as I said, it's been a while since I've read it, but it's basically he becomes this creature to defeat Superman, but then jumps to kind of infect others with the Doomsday virus to give them the power to defeat the Supermen around the multiverse.
So before we go any further, we had some comments before we even came on.
Yeah.
From Damien Ristori. He says, "Hi guys and gals, I'm from Shetland to be exact. What do you think of the news that Michael Korvac may be coming to the MCU? Might be introduced in Captain Marvel 2. He could be a fab MCU saga baddie and Marvel legend. Naturally, he also says, also not seen the last episode of WandaVision yet, but I was thinking, is Agatha going to be Grim Reaper in disguise? Kind of noticed her colors, her clothing colors even matched his costume or hints. And he also said about DC McFarlane figures, Darkseid and Steppenwolf look pretty fab in updated form. Now, Damien, we will put out a spoiler warning because we're going to be talking about the last episode of WandaVision pretty soon. So if you don't want to be spoiled, maybe drop off for about 20 minutes and come back. About Michael Carvack, yeah, he's a massive villain. I don't know like how they're going to introduce him. I don't think he'll be straight away in Captain Marvel because, as you know, with Marvel, they do things slowly. They drop seeds and they build. So I don't know. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 as well is another good entrance point for him.
My guessing is
Possibly.
That's going to be the window for Mephisto.
This is going to be the running joke now for the podcast, the whole Mephisto thing. So on to my show.
Show me and tell me about your thing.
Last year, and
oh my god,
I had no money, so you know the thing. So I decided to sell up my Transformers Masterpiece collection, and that was sad. But that collection was never gonna last anyway because they're so expensive and they take up so much space and stuff. So I sold off Optimus Prime and Megatron first, and I always planned on getting them back in a different form. So this week, I was lucky that I got both of them in the same week. So I don't know, guys, if you can see that.
Oh, deadly, yeah.
But that is the Transformers Earthrise War for Cybertron Megatron, and looks awesome, to be honest. The only thing I don't like is that he turns into a tank. I'm a big G1 guy, so
just leave him standing, dude.
That's what I'm going to do. Put him into bot mode, and then from Smith's, actually, this was Optimus Prime Transformers Kingdom, and this like you can even see from the back has the trailer and everything, and it's perfectly G1 cartoon. So like, I'm buzzing with these. So
question for you.
Shoot.
Are you going to take them out of the box?
100% coming out of the box.
I reckon with this bad boy here, right? Brian will tell you because it pisses him off massively. I tend to keep these fuckers in the box, and that seems to piss a lot of people off.
I think
Brian.
I think the technical term, Tubbs, is inbox wanker, but yeah.
Yeah, inbox wanker is the thing, yeah.
So yeah, like I'm going to be reviewing those. Small bit, but yeah, I'm going to be reviewing those and sticking them up on the channel pretty soon. So say subscribe for that. And so a bit of action figure news now, and I actually have a picture file ready, Tubbs. Very organized today. So
I do love that I don't actually know I know like through conversations that we're going to be talking about certain things, but I don't actually know the things Brian's going to throw up. So like, I'm like you, I'm getting to see this for the first time and I'm excited. So throw them at me, bud.
So here is the Brian and Tubbs Culture Cast folder. Oh, and there it goes again. So there it is.
He's just showing you his desktop, you know.
So I showed you some of the pictures of this during the week. Storm Collectibles.
You showed me one, yeah.
Have released pictures of this, and anyone who knows me knows that I've been bitching for months, maybe even years, that Storm have not done nothing but ninjas, and then they just dropped this out of the abyss from nowhere. There was no hint of this coming out or anything, but Storm Kung Lao, and I just picked the best pictures to show you guys here because it's just absolutely phenomenal looking figure. Check that out, like. Oh, that's our next one.
Pick it up on the big screen, kid. Make that large as fook.
That's large as it'll go now for what we need. But yeah, that's like,
I suppose
that's pretty awesome. Also, in action figure news, the first reveals for the Eternals Marvel Legends figures are out. Now, this is unfortunate because this film isn't even out yet because of COVID and stuff. So none of us know what these characters are going to be like moving, so they don't look the best. So let's check those out. So this is Icarus, I think. You're seeing all these, Tubbs, where?
No, God, no, man. I'm just seeing a screen of your desktop. That's basically all I can see right now.
You can't see the figures.
No, I can see them on a literal screen, but not actually like. Are you putting them full screen, or are you just showing
Hold on.
the full range on your desktop?
Hold on.
Technology, kids. It's a fucking bitch.
You should be able to see it now.
No.
Nothing.
No, you just keep going through them and show them to the thing. I can't. I can kind of see them on the big screen here anyway. Like,
screen sharing is stopped. Have a little gremlin. We'll try that again. Oh, hold on. I think I know what. I think I know what it is.
Now I can see them.
And of course, I would go.
Now we're back on a 2-screener.
So, okay. So here we go. You see my screen?
Yeah, I can see the YouTube studios and all that kind of crazy jazz.
Now, how about now? I forget that we're on a delay here. That's actually what's happening.
Oh, really? Oh, yes, it is. Yeah.
So apologies, guys. Damien says we can see them, but only small icons. Sorry about that, guys.
That's all I could see.
So yeah, this is as big as they're going to get for now, anyway. But this is the Eternals Icarus, who's been played by the guy who played Stark in Game of Thrones, Robb Stark.
Is that who's playing him?
Yeah. And there is Kingo, who is being played by Kamal. I can't think of his name, his full name. There is Marvel's Sprite, not the drink. Marvel's Cersei, not to be confused with the Game of Thrones Cersei. And Druig, who was being played by Barry Keoghan from Love Hate fame.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
And Macari, who was being played, you know, the deaf girl in The Walking Dead?
Yes.
Yeah, she is playing Macari.
Wicked. I do. I enjoy her. She's very cool actress.
And there is Fastos. I'm not sure the actor behind him as well. But these figures, they look okay. There is not, I don't know, you can't really make a judgment without seeing them. But onto the McFarlane DC. You know, you see those, Tubbs?
Nope.
That is really strange. But anyway, McFarlane DC.
Let the audience see it, buddy. I can catch up and I can look back. It's all good.
Damien said, I can see your bank account. Only kidding. Well, Damien, if you can see it, that's fair enough. There's nothing in it. All got an action figures, man. But so there is the 7 altogether, the Justice League. There is Darkseid with that really, really skinny torso I don't like, and I don't understand why they went for it. You know the one I'm talking about, Tubbs, don't you?
Yeah, we had a discussion about this last night. Now, the armored version is actually pretty fucking decent. It looks really cool. I've seen a lot of people like online bitching going like, "Oh, why does he have a skirt?" I'm just kind of going, "It's not a skirt, guys. Armor, you know." Fucking hell.
Well, yeah, like the faces are not good on these at all, I don't think.
Well, see, the only thing about it is, do you remember you were showing me kind of rough patched pictures of it last night? I went looking for high-res versions. Now there is no getting around the Ben Affleck headed Batman. It looks like he was kicked by a donkey in one cottage.
I'm looking at it now.
It's very bad.
It's scandalous, man.
But the higher res photos that I saw last night showed a lot more detail in the faces. Like Caval's Superman actually didn't look half bad. It looked a lot better high res. You could see a lot more of the detail. But yeah, I mean Aquaman doesn't look great.
I think like any figures that have masks on don't look too bad.
Yeah,
but
I mean I think
as soon as you go
the Flash and the Batman, the full Batman in costume looks badass. You know,
But like
but not that Bruce Wayne version.
as soon as you're trying to recreate the actor's face, it just does not work, unfortunately. Now Steppenwolf is class. I like the look of him. If I was buying, if I liked the character, I probably would buy him.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Is there two versions of Steppenwolf and two versions of Darkseid?
I would say there's probably a 2-pack version of Darkseid. And a single,
because
one,
as you said, one of them has that skinny torso, the other has the full armor.
It's like there is a regular Superman and a black Superman as well. So one of them is definitely in 2-pack with Darkseid, I would say.
I'm definitely going to buy the two of them anyway.
Other than that, I'm not so sure. So let's stop screen sharing there. Now we're back to normal.
Now I can see everything.
But yeah, like I'm not.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm not too gone on all that. Damien Ristori said drat. Mark Shabby Geek is in the chat as well. Hi Mark, how are you, dude? Yeah, so
how you doing, dudes?
So that is all the action figure news that we're going to cover for today. Any final thoughts before we move on, Tubbs?
No, I mean with the DC, the DC McFarlane ones. When I was looking at more high res versions, I had seen a thing of where these weren't apparently these aren't finished models. Like these are only like you know the way even with the Eternals versions, as you were saying, they don't seem to be fully the fully finished versions.
Well, those ones are in boxes and everything. They were actually spotted in a shop.
Not gonna lie, some of the faces look pretty fucking suspect on those Eternal figures, man.
Oh, they do 100%. I'm not denying that at all. It's not a Marvel DC thing for me. Like I'll call out a shit figure. Shit.
Now, don't get me wrong. They're not Ben Affleck kicked in the face by a donkey and went cod-eyed bad, because that's a pretty shocking Ben Affleck fucking looking head on that DC figure. And I did see someone saying it's like, oh, maybe they don't have the rights to use their faces.
No, I think they just
if they're releasing the movie figures, they're going to have likenesses. You know,
maybe they're using the same guys that did the CGI and Cavill's mustache.
Maybe so, because but the main thing about it was that if you look at the high-res photographs, the high-res versions still fucking Aquaman still Aquaman's face still looks terrible. Ezra Miller looks pretty damn good because, as you said, he has a mask on its cover, and even Cyborg, actually, we didn't talk about Cyborg. Cyborg actually looks okay.
Yeah, he looks fine as well, I have to say.
He's actually grand. It's but the worst one was, which I'm so happy that there's a version that has the Batman cowl and you don't have to buy the version with that head. Or I don't know, maybe the head comes with it, who knows? But you'll never, ever, ever have to display that head on your Batman figure. You know, there's options. And I'm glitching out like motherfucker. I apologize for the internet signal here, guys. It's actually doing me no favors.
But yeah, so in the chat, Mark Shabby Geek says, "Hey Brian, just popping in to say hi, leave a like. I'll watch this on replay later. Cheers, lads." Thanks, Mark. And Mark, give him a follow on Twitter, Mark Shabby Geek. He's an awesome guy, and he does a Shabby Geek Dance Friday as well, which is fantastic, and always puts a smile on my face as well. Mick Holohan. Hi, Mick. How are you? Hi, guys. Just in, thoughts on the Kung Lao figure by Storm. We just discussed it about 10 minutes ago, but I have no problem repeating it. The minute I saw this figure, I was blown away because I've been waiting for so long for Storm to do a non-Ninja Mortal Kombat figure since Raiden. And Kung Lao, he absolutely looks awesome. And the rabbit in the hat was just the chef's kiss on the cake for me. And I have already got it pre-ordered. So, Tubbs.
To be fair, though, 2021 has delivered you a lot of Mortal Kombat goodness, my friend.
Well, this is the first one. I'm still waiting to get Motaro, actually. Which is,
I mean, you know me. I mean, I think I already said to you was I think Storm Collectibles, and the next Storm collectible I buy will be Doomsday. I think that's the target for me. That's the one I want. But yeah, fucking, you go get yourself your Kung Lao and your rabbit in your hat. No, you've waited long enough, goddammit.
Now, if they just make Liu Kang, Kano, and Sonya, we can be all good. All good. I don't ask for much, like, do I?
The full lineup. Get you ready for the movie.
The whole lineup of the first and second games, and I'll be happy. I won't need any more of them then.
Yeah.
Well, except for maybe Cabal, but okay, let's stop. So we're moving on to WandaVision. Spoilers ahead.
Because it's working around massively here.
But we're moving on to spoilers of WandaVision. Don't mind Tubbs, he's just glitching himself, he'll be fine.
Take no notice.
So guys, WandaVision, what did you think of the finale, Tubbs? And funnily enough, we haven't really talked much about this, have we?
This is the strange thing. Normally, once we watch the episode, we're like, hey man, did you watch WandaVision? And then you're waiting for the other person to finish it, and we're all like chatting, fucking and deep diving into the YouTubes. But this week, not so much. No, we really, this is our first time talking about it. So I mean, I genuinely don't know your reaction to it in any way, shape, or form, which is fucking like really good for the show. Have a brand Joe like real deep dive into it. But yeah, I mean, can I ask you a question?
Fire away.
If you can hear me, because this fucking internet is like fucking mind fucking me. Where did you land in it?
I think first of all, I want to start at the start. What I loved about this episode was that it kicked off right after where the last one ended. So if you wanted, you could literally watch the last two episodes as a fucking movie, which I really liked.
There you go.
Thoughts on the finish of it? Like, I'm going to say something controversial here. I don't think, like, spoilers, obviously, guys.
Massive spoilers. If you haven't seen this episode, jog the fuck on, go make a cup of coffee or tea. Get the fucking coffee, make some tea, and come the fuck back in about 20 fucking half an hour. It's all good. It's all good. Go, Brian.
Like all that she went through, right? I don't think she learned her lesson by the end of it. And I don't think she came off the best either, because she literally held a whole town hostage and did not say sorry, did not hold any apologies, and just left. And at the end, when she's messing with the Darkhold book, she's trying to bring back her kids again, and therefore possibly causing more terror. So,
Brian.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, can I tell you a secret?
You can.
Agatha wasn't actually the villain of this show, man. It was fucking Wanda. That's what a lot of people didn't fucking get. Do you want to know why? I'll tell you. Because we fucking love Wanda so much, because we've had her for like fucking how many movies now at this point we've had grown a connection.
She's
the villain of this whole fucking story.
Yeah.
So she's the actual villain of this story. You know? Like even when and it's weird because Agatha is designed to be that, like, you know, like, oh my God, is she evil? But it's like Agatha was trying to teach her. She was even saying it to her, like, you have no idea what you've unleashed. Like, you have no idea what you're doing with this power. Now, obviously, Agatha probably has these selfish reasons, because we know from the comments that fucking her character is very much balances back and forth from literally wanting the power to help him and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I think by the end of this episode, she, as you said, it was like she had learned her lesson. That was the whole point of it. She had learned how to, like, deal with the grief and say goodbye. But then she, like, is fully fucking fledged Scarlet Witch, and then you see her in the second post credit scene, like, she's doing some fucking Sorcerer Supreme fucking crazy fucking shit, which is way worse what she was doing. Because if you remember, this is going to be a fucking pure nerd geek moment that I spotted in this, right? Doctor Strange did that projection thing.
Yeah,
to learn good. He was sleeping, so he was subconsciously, like, he was projecting his subconscious while he slept. Wanda's fucking wide awake.
Yeah.
Like, she's wide awake, making fucking tea, sitting on the porch, listening to the birds, whatever the fuck she's doing. She's not busy enough to fucking not read that book herself. She's wide awake and she's still projecting.
Let's get through some comments.
Like, go on.
No, finish your thought. We go to the comments then.
No, I was just going to say to you, isn't it mental? I don't know if anyone else in comments or yourself at this. They're just seeing me do this. Wandavision.
Go on anyway.
Do you think it's actually crazy that Sam Raimi is directing the Multiverse of Madness, and that last post credit scene, like the after credits post credit scene?
Yeah, it was very
Evil Dead shot. Big long wide shot that pulled right up into the door, passed her out this way.
So in the comments we have Damien says there's still a lot of Marvel DC warfare out there, can't please everyone. Personally, we should all be grateful anything new at all is coming out due to COVID. Joshua Kincaid, hey Josh, he says, sup guys, my favorite part of we're going to talk about this, Josh. My favorite part of WandaVision is where they proved all the Mephisto lovers wrong. And he says also, what if she is actually in Sokovia trying to resurrect her brother and hurt her kids? Hence the illusion where she's making tea. And Monkey Jeebus says she's not a villain. She's a villain, but not intentionally. And Josh said, Tubbs, Disney's hitting your internet, keeping you quiet, keeping you hushed.
What was that last one?
Disney is hitting your internet, Tubbs, keeping you hushed.
Okay, man, yeah, they're trying to keep me fucking quiet, man, trying to keep me down. But you know what I do love about this last episode, right? And I agree with what the comments are saying. The way like all the Mephisto stuff and all like the X-Men stuff, because me and Brian be talking about it and I'm like, oh man, maybe this is the way in for the X-Men. Maybe this is like the House of M graphic novel and it's like just a bit done differently. Because that's the whole point of this show, right? This is what it did for 9 weeks. It had everybody theorizing and had all these people kind of like, oh, what's this? Because that was the whole concept of the show. They designed it in that way for you to ask questions and have a conversation. But do you know who the biggest villain of this show was?
Kevin Feige.
No, us, the fans.
Yeah.
We are the whole fan base got shitty when this ended. All online, they were like, well, they didn't pay this off, and there was no Mephisto. Like, they didn't promise you any of this. None of it. You fucking made this up in your head. Therefore, you didn't get what you wanted out of this ending, so you ended up being pissy and shitty about it. I mean, the only thing that was actually promised was that this will feed directly into Doctor Strange too. And then I've heard people going, it's like, well, Doctor Strange didn't show up. There was no cameo there. I was going, yeah, but she mentioned, like, she literally told her in the street, you're more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. His name was mentioned. And then when she's doing the projectile thing in the cabin, if you listen, or if you hear what I'm saying, I know because my internet fucking shit. The Doctor Strange music that played at the end of Doctor Strange plays over that thing.
Yeah.
So if the connections were there, people were just going, they didn't see him. He's not on screen. So, did you know correct me if I'm in the comments, anyone know? I just want to throw this out here, right?
Yeah.
I think we got a cameo that I think went over everyone's head because they weren't paying attention to it, because they were, as you said before, theorizing everything else. Yeah?
Go on.
It was a shot. Anyone, you can go back and watch it and let me know if I'm completely batshit here, right? But I'm telling you what, because I went back and watched this thing where they show the hex and it's splitting. There's 2 black silhouettes standing there watching this happen. One of those fuckers is bald. It was a split second. I was going, they just show us.
Like the Watcher.
It could be. I'm not saying it's Professor X. It could be the Watcher. It was 2 figures, and it was a split second. It was just a 2 figures and a black silhouette, and then it jumped back to what was happening. I was going, no, I'm not saying it was, but what I was trying to say was, it wasn't anyone from like what's his name, the fucking prick. Oh, I keep fucking remembering Hayward. It wasn't Hayward or any of his guys. It was just this. It literally just showed 2 figures standing there watching. They were all blacked out. and it jumped back to the action. I was going, why the fuck did they do that? It was very strange. But and I've seen nobody report on it either, which is the weird thing. Like I've seen no like YouTube videos do deep dives and stuff and pick that out. I was going, that's fucking weird how nobody picked up on that.
But
yeah,
like
I did. I spotted it.
Like Monkey Jeebus says, the whole Quicksilver thing was aimed at the viewers who watch the X-Men movies. I have a theory on this. On
Give me your theory, because I have one too.
I think the whole Quicksilver Pietro thing was two things, right? The first one was it was bait, right? It was a bait test to get people in. But it was also a big FU to the Foxverse. Oh, look, this isn't Pietro. He's just a fake. The real Pietro died 2 years ago. Our Pietro died 2 years ago, basically. There is no other, that kind of thing. But I didn't really mind. I wasn't too gone on him being Pietro all along either. So it didn't bother me that it didn't turn out that way.
I'll be honest about it. I know people were going like, oh yeah, but he's the Fox Quicksilver. It's fucking better Quicksilver, man. I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna say it. Evan Peters is better at being Quicksilver than Aaron Taylor Thomas. Is that his fucking name? I don't know.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. But
there you go. I said his name wrong because I don't fucking care.
I would disagree with you fairly.
No, but my theory on it is like it's probably one everyone else bugged into. I don't. He obviously, as I said, he's not Pietro. He's not Quicksilver. He's an actor. Literally, that thing that Monica picked up, that was his headshot.
Yeah, he's an actor. Yeah.
So it was easier for Agatha to use an actor to play the part of Quicksilver. But let me ask you a question: if he's just a regular guy and he's just an actor, how did he have the powers of Quicksilver?
The chain. She pulled the
really
necklace off.
Did she manifest that whole thing into the chain?
Yeah, that was a spell by Agatha. And
yeah, because that pissed me off. I was going to go like, why is his power still there? Like, why
Monica,
is he still
he was under hypnosis or whatever as well. Because as soon as she pulled it off, he was like, "Oh Jesus, don't hurt me."
Which I'll be honest, I can understand why people were annoyed at that whole thing, because it genuinely was. It gave people and this is why people terrorized that mutants were coming and Mephisto was there and all these things, because they genuinely did design it. They designed it for you to.
They leaned it in. They leaned into it.
Yeah, they really did. They massively designed it. And I have seen it online. They were saying, "Oh, they designed this like massive Quicksilver, like fucking red herring just to make a fucking dick joke." Ralph Boner. Yeah, it was funny. I laughed, but I don't care. I was just delighted to see Evan Peters in, because I like him. I think Evan Peters is a good actor. I'm delighted to see him. I'm sickened he's not going to be in the MCU going forward. It doesn't look like, unless this was another red herring and he does fucking show up somewhere else. Monkey
Jeebus. Yeah. They were both in Kick-Ass. They were, yeah. They were the two mates. They were two mates in Kick-Ass. I preferred Aaron Taylor Johnson myself, and I think he got a raw deal only getting one movie. Like, I liked him in Kick-Ass. I didn't like him in Godzilla, but I do think he's a good actor. And I really liked how he kicked the shit out of the Avengers in Age of Ultron.
Wasn't that? I mean, as I said, I could be wrong, because look, if I am, just tell me. Wasn't that down to controversy or something? Wasn't he hard to work with or something, so that he wasn't brought back?
I don't know.
It was. I heard that down through the years, that apparently he was hard to work with on Age of Ultron, so the decision was to not bring him back. So that was kind of a late call to kill Quicksilver at the end of it.
Because like that whole movie was kind of building towards Hawkeye getting the bullets. I figured myself anyway.
Well, that's what we thought, right? So maybe at the very end, Mr. Johnson was being fucking a bit of a dick or something, and they just switch. But let me ask you a question, right?
Google, is Aaron Taylor Johnson a dick?
If they can take out Quicksilver, as I said, we could be completely wrong and just fucking something we heard on the internet. It's not even probably true. But if that was the case, and then they just didn't, have him back and they killed him on screen and so on, why can't they fucking do that to Brie Larson? Like, they have a perfect fucking person to take Captain Marvel now. Just give it to Monica Rambeau and fuck her off into the desert. Or do what we want, bring fucking Rogue in, put her in the stupid coma, and just be done with it.
I think we need a jingle for your Brie Larson rant every week. It's become like a thing now.
It's becoming a thing now. Like,
Joshua says, Aaron's Quicksilver look cooler. Agree there. Evan
No, I
played
do
it.
agree there. He was a better version, but
But,
I loved Evan Peters' version more.
but he said Evan played it better, but he also had more lines other than, you didn't see that coming?
Yeah, this is true. I mean, look, to be fair, he did have more gravy to put on his mash, if you will, you know.
No, there's. But anyway, back to the
That's
episode.
an image.
Back to the episode itself.
Yeah.
So, like, the Hayward thing, that kind of went nowhere, did it?
Not even so much nowhere. It's like, this is what I think, as I said, this show was very good at doing, and I think it did it really, really well, because look what it did to the internet, and all of us, like, after it ended, we were like, we didn't get the things that we were promised, even though we weren't promised any of them, because we just speculated for 9 weeks.
But
Hayward,
no, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't.
no, but what I think with Hayward is I don't think Hayward is a villain. I just think that Hayward was dealing with snap PTSD. That's where his whole thing was coming from. You know what I mean?
I thought he was just another Thunderbolt Ross from the very start.
Well, yeah, but to me, I didn't see him as a villain. Now, don't get me wrong, he got a little suspect at the end when he tried to shoot fucking Monica and the kids. I was kind of going, oh, he's after fucking fledging it. And what a fucking way to, like, which I did love that they kept. There was only one scene she was in this thing for, and it was fucking brilliant. It was like fucking Darcy just rams the truck clean into him. And she was like, enjoy jail or enjoy prison. I was going like, that's pure funny. But yeah, I mean, overall, there was so many great things in this episode that do.
But let's stay with Hayward for a second, right?
Yes, go on.
His goal was to get Vision working again, right?
Yeah.
So why did he even send his white Vision into the Hex? He could have just left and used him for military operations, etc.
I mean, it's like you said with Thunderbolt Ross. It's the Thunderbolt Ross at his core isn't a villain.
He's just a military man, yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't say he's just a military man. But he's like, his motivation is, as we've said before. Like, I've never looked at Thunderbolt Ross as a villain. I just think he's a character that, like, is very much like a J. Jonah Jameson. You know, he's not a bad guy, but he's a bit of a prick. Do you know what I mean?
Until he turns into the Red Hulk in the cinematic universe as well, which would be awesome.
Or I hope that happens. But no, I mean, but even with Hayward, I think Hayward isn't a villain. Like, I wouldn't put him down as like the show's bad guy. You know, I just think
he tried to shoot kids, Tubbs. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but look, come here, we've all tried that before, brother. You know?
Well, I wouldn't blame you. Let's leave that there.
But no, but I think on the Hayward subject, I think they needed someone in the show to trick you. Like, so you would think that, like, oh, there's something else going on here. Maybe he is the big bad. Realistically, he's just this fucking, you know, as you said, army type that's suffering from snap PTSD and basically wants to fucking take out fucking Wanda. Basically, he becomes this character. I mean, I don't look at him as a villain. Like, he hasn't got a bigger plan to, like, snap half of existence out like Thanos did.
Yeah,
he's just a prick that has too much power and a vibranium fucking android at his disposal. You know, you could see it in the scene with Wanda. He started manipulating her and everything in Joe last week's episode. So he's very much that kind of character. So, like,
we had two big CGI fests more or less then as well, with Wanda versus Agatha and Vision versus Vision. So what did you think of those two battles?
I absolutely 100%. I'm just going to say it again because I think I said it last week. Elizabeth Olsen in this show has just been fantastic. She's just been so fucking good from start to finish, whether it's been comedy, drama, or whatever she's had to play, whatever stage of grief she's been in whatever given episode, she's played it to the fucking highest point. But it's the scene where White Vision walks up to her and he grabs her by the head and literally starts crushing her fucking head and picking her up. I was like, man,
Game of Thrones PTSD there.
And then, you know, Vision comes in and then, you know, fucking hits him into the truck, it explodes, and then he comes out of the fucking flames like the T-1000, you know, it's like fucking
so Terminator.
I was like, "going, that's fucking cool. That's cool." But the whole thing with Vision and White Vision,
Man, that
because
scene when they're
yeah,
in the house, start talking to each other, it was
in the
fucking
library,
perfect. It was just
which I don't know if you pegged this. It's so strange that like when in the second episode, Vision ends up in the library at that like town meeting thing, and he eats the gum and gets all fucking discombobulated and kind of
oh
fucked up,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. Punch
he's not
drunk.
yeah, but he's the proper version of himself. Then flip to the last episode, and he's fighting a version of himself that isn't fully, 100% Vision,
Mm.
which I thought was like these little things they do. I was like, going, oh man, the gum fucking scenario in the same place. It's not the same thing, obviously. White Vision is a fucking, is just wide, but it was the back and forth they had. I agree with you. It was so good. Paul Bettany is so good in that role.
And this was the actor who he was waiting to work with his whole life.
And I give him all the credit in the world because he trolled not just a few people, he trolled the whole fucking internet.
Yeah.
Everyone speculated who it was going to be, and he was like, going, "Yeah, I get to work with myself. I'm the greatest actor ever." It was just such a nice troll.
Like the little debate, let's call it, they had was just so Vision, like, wasn't it? Like
it was, and it wasn't even like a reverse psychology thing. It was genuinely
it was logic.
factual, which is, you know,
Like, what did you think of, like, that he actually had the memories still in the body, and the other Vision unlocked them or something? I thought that was really nice.
I think that's so cool because, as I said to you, remember when we started this show? Now, obviously, that Vision doesn't have the Mind Stone, so obviously it doesn't have the thing, but it still has all the working parts that Vision had, and now it has the memories back. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the same version of the Paul Bettany Vision, or will it be just like like a sentient android with the memories? There, I don't know. Will it obviously will it interact the same way and things like that? If they ever bring it back to begin with, I mean, obviously, if you open to the sky and he says, "I am Vision," he's going to come back.
Like, yeah,
Now,
I wonder, like, and this is extreme speculation on my part.
yeah.
That if Wanda does go off the deep end in Doctor Strange, will he be the one to, like, either push her over the edge if he doesn't recognize her, or pull her back and save the day kind of thing?
So do you think that's when he'll come back into play?
Possibly. No,
Yeah.
that's just pure speculation. Like, she might
I know.
go
I mean,
bad at all.
all of this, everything we're talking about, like here, is it for the last 9 weeks has been speculation. Do you know what I mean? We haven't been talking about it obviously on the show for 9 weeks. We only started 3 weeks ago, but
Yeah.
but in general, everyone, it has been a wave of speculation, which is kind of why I think this last episode kind of hit people like in all different forms. For me, I genuinely love this episode. There was so much, like, even with the whole Agatha thing.
And we'll get onto that now as well in a sec.
Yes.
Let's go to the comments for a second. Monkey Jeebus, Hayward is a rogue skull. Now, this is very interesting because I would
go with that one.
I would love for this to happen, because a lot of people complain in Captain Marvel, not about Brie Larson, Tubbs, but about the Skrulls being so placid and non-villainous. But what people, I suppose, casual viewers wouldn't know is there are different gangs and stuff of Skrulls. They're not all good. There's terrible Skrulls as well as people. Like,
you reckon he's a Skrull?
That could be possible. Very possible.
I like. Do you know what? Even if it's not true or if it isn't a thing, I do like that fucking. Where's my money? I like his story. Let's pay him.
It's now Monkey Jeebus.
It's come here. That's better than him just being a dick that wanted to shoot kids. Let's be fair.
Well, I suppose. Joshua says Hayward is a villain by circumstances. He wanted to eliminate the threat, and everything in the Hex was a threat in his eyes.
I think
that's how I saw it. Yeah, very much so.
I think that's exactly what I was trying to say, but I think I went long-winded about it. It's like, what I mean, the whole PTSD thing and about Thanos and the snap. I think this was his way of eliminating
covering his tracks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think he's only guilty of being a fucking scumbag.
Pretty much.
I don't. As I said, I never looked at Hayward as the show's villain. If that makes sense.
And Josh says, Vision versus Vision was epic eye candy on the screen. The Theseus barge debate even gave me pause. Yeah, man. I had to stop and think as well for a second because it was just perfect. So let's get on to the big red CGI fest battle between Scarlet Witch and Agatha Harkness. So Tubbs, you saw her giving up her power, it looked like at the time, and even turning kind of zombie-ish near the end. Did you think she was in trouble at that point?
No. And I'll tell you why. Because I've noticed the things, because even when she was, if you go back to the episode where she had her contained, I think it was last week's one, in the thing, when she was showing her all the manipulation with the fly and
the rooms.
And then she threw it at the rabbit. Wanda, you could see her. Wanda was watching all of it, like the hex symbols and everything else. And how fast did she manipulate her with those hex symbols in the sky?
But Tubbs, I have a problem with this because
okay, go tell me.
That scene, right, where she's down in the basement or whatever, she literally comes up the stairs and out the door, and then your one has the kids, and then they fight, and then up they go up into the sky. How or what in what time frame did she learn to do those runes between there and
this
then?
This is the thing I'm saying. Do you remember she when she had the book open? Remember Agnes had the book open, and you had the symbol of the Scarlet Witch, and on the other page you had all of the different kind of round symbols with hexagons on them. I'm assuming that like she said it herself, the Scarlet Witch isn't born; she was forged. So I think it's like a sponge. She just soaks this in. I think that magic comes to her. I think that's how she was been able to pick it up. And there's one little thing in the fight I did love was before they go back to like Agnes's memory. Was Agnes is on the roof, and then you just see Scarlet Witch kind of do this like
the Age of Ultron moment. Yeah,
thing with her pure Age of Ultron throwback. Like I was like, that's fucking cool because I haven't
even
seen
the
her
movement
do that
and everything was the same.
But yeah, there was a lot of elements. Like I mean, even when like things like but it was the things that Agnes would say. It's like about the people when Agnes starts kind of like waking everyone up. And they're all coming at her, like, and just like, and there was one line I think the small guy says to her, "It's like she's like, I kept you all safe and all this," and she was really reaching Wanda. I mean, here, like, really reaching, like, I kept you safe in here and night, John. And he was like, when we sleep, we have your nightmares. I was like, fuck me. And then she freaked out and started choking him. And then Agnes says to her, it was like, heroes don't torture people. It was like as much as Agnes was like fucking with her and she was trying to get the power off her, it's like she was teaching her lessons, man. You're supposed to be a hero, but look what you've done to these people. This, in my opinion, this is why I think Wanda was literally the villain of this entire series, and I think that she's just going to get worse before she gets better.
Like what she did to Agnes at the end was 50% hilarious and 50% horrible as well.
But that's my point. Is and even Agnes said it to her. She was like,
"That's cruel."
She goes, "That's cruel," and she just kind of like laughed it off.
Yeah, she goes, "Yeah." So.
And I was kind of going like, I was like, "That's my point." I was kind of going like, "Fuck." You know what I mean? There's a darkness to this character, like not Wanda Maximoff, but the Scarlet Witch. It's like when she embraced the Scarlet Witch. I think she's after opening up something in that book as well, because even fucking Agatha said it to her. You don't know what you've unleashed. Remember, like that when she was saying. But did you notice something on her tiara? Little detail. I was like, because obviously Elizabeth Olsen's on the screen, and I'm like, But did you notice did you notice the House of M on the center?
No.
M right in the dead center for tiara. I was like, that is fucking brilliant. They didn't do it, but it's there. Little Easter eggs.
I need to go back looking now. But
as I said, there's probably things that I saw you didn't, and vice versa. Do you know what I mean?
But like, let's talk about the Darkhold for a second.
Yeah.
So do you know what the Darkhold is? Basically, it's like the Book of the Dead in the MCU. Well, in Marvel Comics.
And how ironic is it that
Sam Raimi is doing
Sam Raimi is directing the Book of the Dead movie basically in the MCU. That's fucking brilliant.
Hey, Sam Raimi, want to make Evil Dead 4, but in the Marvel universe?
That's why I loved that last shot. I mean, like, I don't know if anyone spotted that, like, but the one when it came up to her in the cabin.
even the movement of she's looking
It
through
was
the book is
it
very
was,
dead-eyed.
but it was a complete and utter like long follow shot and came in the door. It didn't cut once, and then just finished up on one day. I just thought that's pure, like even the shot is like was connected to the new Doctor Strange because of who's directing it. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of
Yeah.
it. Go back to what you were saying.
The Darkhold. So
Yeah.
So like I know I don't want to be banging the Mephisto drum again, like, but the Darkhold is like a gateway to werewolves, vampires, demons, and Blade is cast now as well. So there is this is how many doors is going to open for the rest of the MCU, like.
Let me say one more thing. Do you know the way we were joking around at the start about like, oh, do you know, like, I mean, I was saying about everyone kind of like, was like, oh, I didn't get all the theories and things that I was promised, even though we didn't get them. All jokes aside, as well as everyone in the comments knows and everything else, and we know from watching Marvel movies at this point in time, they don't shoot their load on the first go.
No,
they play the long game. So
you're not
this
talking
movie,
DC here, Tubbs.
Oh, look at you big girl. But this TV show, all those things that we theorized, everyone that like everything that everyone was saying about Mephisto and like Nightmare and the X-Men and all these things. It's not saying that this didn't open something to eventually get to all those possibilities, because it probably did. It's just we have to wait. This show, and this is another conversation I had with a friend of mine, and I had it with you as well at one point. Do you know what I loved about this show?
Wow.
Now, the new generation of kids that watch like movies and shows and all that, they never grew up like we grew up with TV shows. That week-to-week grind that you have to watch and you have to wait and really put the time and effort into a show. They just throw it on and they binge watch the crap out of it. This and The Mandalorian were two shows that really, really brought me backwards in time to that, like, oh, okay, I got to wait an entire week to see the next episode. And it was like a two flip of a coin for me. It was like it pissed me off because now I'm like everyone else and I just want it all now. But kind of it teaches you patience when it comes to this stuff, and I think that's a good thing that the MCU does, man. It grounds you in a patient delivery of its content, because now people are going to say, "What? I don't get to find out what happens until like next year." I was like, "No, you'll probably have little trinkets thrown in here and there and all the other things, like Spider-Man and things."
I think
the payoff is next year.
Doctor Strange is until 2022, is it?
2022. So yeah. It's I think it's earlier 2022, but I think it's around this time next year.
Yeah, and like you'll have Falcon and the Winter Soldier starting the week after next as well.
And Captain America's definitely making a cameo.
I'm not even going to start speculation for that yet. But anyway, shall we move on to our next topic?
Will. I'm joking. I'm only joking.
Okay, so today's topic is just a bit of a random one. Sidekicks and villains getting their own Hollywood movies. Okay. So what do you think, Tubbs? Like, we've seen Bumblebee, we've seen Venom, we've seen Han Solo, and now there's Morbius, there's Cruella, and so much more others as well. What do you think of this whole deal? Like,
I'm on board with it, dude. Because I mean, because it goes to that grind. And we'll stick in the lane of superheroes because we were talking about that already. Yeah. It sticks in that lane of, for the longest time, in the DC universe, or like even in Marvel, you got all, it was the main characters. Now, when the MCU became a thing, they obviously the reasons they didn't go straight for the Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men was because they didn't have the rights.
They didn't have the rights.
So yeah. They had no choice but to kind of play around with the side characters and villains.
I wouldn't consider Cap, Thor, and Iron Man side characters.
No, yeah, but you know what I mean? Is like, they're mainstay, but that's where you started to get in characters like Hawkeye and things like that instead. And because you had to play with what you had. But like DC for one, DC, whenever anything goes wrong, just make another Batman movie. They don't like how Superman performs. Make another Batman movie. You're always doing that. You're always giving it, like, you're taking. And don't get me wrong, I'm a massive Batman fan, as you know. So any Batman I get, I'm fucking happy with. But at the same time, I know for a fact, when they released the Joker, the Joker movie, like, I was fucking delighted. I was like, this is epic. a movie all about the Joker. That's so
Uh,
fucking cool.
I have
You know
a
what I mean?
I have a bit of a hot take on that.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, my theory on the Joker. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved it. It was a phenomenal movie, but at the same time, I could never watch it again because it's so depressing. It's horrible, haunting. That's the word I was looking
You
for.
want to know, and I had a conversation with my mate about this, right? Do you want to know why you won't watch it again? Do you want to know why people won't give that a second viewing, or maybe they're done with it after one or two? It's because it's too fucking real.
Yeah, that's it
They chipped
exactly.
it way too close to
It's
the bone and how a person
harrowing.
actually
That's the
feels of
word I was
mental
looking
health
for.
and society and everything. And this is the problem, is when something is that real, that's when you don't want to engage with it all the time. And I don't mean you. I don't mean you in general. I just mean in general with people.
Yeah,
This is why we love our stuff more lighthearted
but
and a little more, fictional.
my
And
hot take, Tubbs, on the movie is Todd, the right, there is no action figures for this movie. Todd Phillips did not want any action figures to be made for
yeah,
this. He didn't want it associated with DCU, EU, as far as I know. My hot take is that this movie, right, was
yeah.
originally written without the Joker in mind. And
Oh yeah,
it was just a film about mental illness and depression. And it wasn't getting picked up. So they tacked on the Joker's name onto it, who is your classic mentally fucked fucking villain. Yeah, I could be 100% wrong, but it's
I mean,
just the way I feel about it.
and I do agree with you in some ways about it as well. And I do think that's what it was. I think the fact that they struck it so close to the bone, and you got to look at the time frame and when it came out as well. Like society was in ruins, man, all over the world. There was nothing but mental health issues, and people were fucking going mental when that film came out. And that was before the pandemic. Like, and the pandemic got worse. But people were already starting to kind of like teeter over into that one. So
Mm.
like when you watch a movie like that, obviously it's about a fucking guy that's lost his mind. He becomes a fucking the clown prince of crime.
Mm.
It's a bit like fucking fictional and comic booky. But I do know what you mean, is they made it too real. And then, to be fair, I don't think it was made. I don't think it wasn't the Joker film. I do think that they made it to be this Joker movie. I just think it was very heavily. They lent very heavily on the likes of Taxi Driver and things like that.
Mm.
Those old school movies that kind of had the same feel. Because what was the other Robert De Niro? Because you got to look at it. Robert De Niro's in this, and this film
Um,
feels like two of his movies, King
yeah,
of
it
Comedy
does.
and
I know King of Comedy.
Taxi
That's the other
Driver.
one. Yeah,
So I think those two movies were very much the what do you call it? I don't know.
inspiration.
Yeah, the inspiration. There you go. This is why he's got the words. I just fucking brain fuck myself. It's all good. But no, but getting on to like what you were saying about side characters and stuff, about like, like what characters, like, I reckon like really service a solo movie in the DC universe. Not DC EU, not that, but just in DC in general. If they were to make a solo movie about his story, his arc, the whole lot, I reckon it would be such a fucking amazing film. It would be The Red Hood.
Yeah, but see, like the problem I have with DC is you even said it at yourself at the start. They got to get their main characters right first.
Oh, but this isn't the main character. This is Robin.
No, I understand what you mean, but
Yeah.
like all of those come true when you're in the main characters' movies. So like to
Yeah,
get to
but I
them,
mean, but they've never really got a shine. I mean, you look at it in the movies in general. Like, I mean, yeah, we've had Robin, but he was 35 years old and Chris O'Donnell. He was no boy. They've never done Robin
yeah, as a teenager,
correctly. They've never featured Robin. Even in, like, you look at the Christopher Nolan ones, they kind of threw a little like red herring at the end.
that was just a nod to the fucking
It was
fans. I
just a
think.
nod. There was talks of it for the Snyderverse, or they had the suit there, but never any Robin. But the reason I think like something like the Robin character out of all the Batman characters, like, you look at Batgirl and Batwoman, they could all really cool, have cool arcs as well. But I just think, and this isn't even the Dick Grayson Robin or Nightwing or anything like this. This is the Red Hood one that, like, the Joker beats him to death,
Mm.
and then the Lazarus, he gets thrown into the Lazarus pit, and then he's resurrected and comes back with a vendetta, and he just becomes this like mental case killer that's like out to just fucking like kill the Joker. And then he has a 360 thing. He becomes on the side of good after time, but you know, I mean, it's a really good arc. I mean, if you're going to tell a Robin story, that would be the one to go with there. But I think in the Marvel side, I think Doctor Doom origin story, like based on just Doctor Doom, I think would be fucking amazing if done right.
I would say the same thing for Robin though. Like they have to get for Doctor Doom to get his own origin film or solo movie, they'll have to get the Fantastic Four right first.
Oh yeah, of course.
And introduce him in that, and then build from there. You know, but like my point mostly being like why have they gone to start doing these films? I can understand it with Sony and their Spider-Verse. They don't have the sole rights to Spider-Man, so to speak. So they've gone to stuff like Morbius, Venom. There's talk to doing Silk and what's the other? Silver Sable as well.
Well, I think in the vein of the superhero movies, regardless if it's DC or Marvel, I think those decisions are being made solely on the thing on the cusp of just because superhero fucking movies have money is the main fucking factor. But I think the audience and the want for these things has gotten so much bigger than it ever has before. I mean, you look at Hollywood in general. Like you go watch like a cop movie or like really kind of like a Sundancey style film. After that, like that's not what cinemas really want anymore. They're not. And they want big fucking huge like crazy CG blockbusters. They want superhero films. They want franchise movies. They want movies that can be churned out and just fucking people will eat it up like Fast and Furious, things like that. You know what I mean? This is why it's happening. Is I think mainly more so with the superhero side of things.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think that's why you're getting all these extra characters. This is why we're living in a generation where like Kraven the Hunter is a possibility for a solo movie. I know people like that character. I was out of all Spider-Man's kind of rogue gallery, was never one of the characters that I would initially go for.
Now I would agree with you there, but he's not one of my go-to characters for Spider-Man. But then I read Kraven's Last Hunt.
Outside
that's one of the best comic series I've ever read, and that's high praise coming from me because I'm pretty critical of everything.
It's high praise.
But I've no interest in seeing him on his own without Spider-Man. There is no fucking point.
You see, this is where you run into the factor of it, because even with the Morpheus movie, right, with Jared Leto,
Morbius, yeah.
Morbius, sorry, and it's even with the Venom movie, like the Venom and Carnage one, like the sequel is coming out and everything else. I don't think these movies were made to just be these movies. Like you're not going to have a franchise of Morbius, you're not going to have a franchise of just Venom. These are eventually all going to interlink, man, I think, and then you are going to have Spider-Man in that whole thing. Like Morbius is probably going to interconnect with Blade at some point.
Oh, I would hope so. Like,
what I mean? That's the hope.
What did you think of Venom? It's on itself.
I enjoyed it.
Like,
I mean, it's like yourself. We're Spider-Man fans. We're superhero fans. Yourself. The whole concept of Venom is it's like to have Venom, you have to have Spider-Man. And people can make the argument. It's like, oh yeah, but you could have Venom and Carnage. You can, but let's be honest. The whole concept, the best story ever told with Venom was the Black Spider Eddie Brock Spider-Man story.
Like, I'm severely torn on Venom because I'm a big fan of the character, right? And they got the perfect actor to play him in Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah.
But like, yes, there is the Lethal Protector storyline where Venom is on his own, more or less. But you still need to do the Spider-Man origin. You still need to give him the black suit. Without Spider-Man, he is nothing.
No, I think I genuinely think you could get around it by doing. I mean, I still think if you're ever going to cross the two over, like Peter Parker, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, still needs to end up with that black suit.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think
It
I think
has to happen for them to
they
become
are.
mortal enemies or whatever. Like,
I think they are tiptoeing towards Sony and the MCU being the same with with Vulture appearing in the trailer for Morbius.
and you know what? I mean, regardless of what happens, yeah. I mean, like it's a win for all of us in any way, shape, or form. You know, like we're getting to see Venom and Carnage soon. You know, you've had Michael Keaton show up in Spider-Man Homecoming and show up in fucking
Morbius so far, yeah.
Morbius trailer. So like there's already integration, there's already interlinking. And he's a busy dude at the moment because he's like rocking between the Spider-Man and the Sony Spider-Man universe and the MCU. And he's also fucking coming back as Batman 89 as well, which, like, you know what I mean, for me is like fucking amazing. I can't believe this is happening. So like I think as fans of the content, man, we're in the generation that's just, I mean, we're spoiled now.
We're spoiled for choice, of course.
We fucking are. I mean, regardless if it's good or bad, we're spoiled.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I remember the dark days of Electro Red.
we had a conversation about this before about, like, you know what I mean, like when like the MCU was not as honored as it is to.
Well, the MCU didn't exist till Iron Man, to be fair.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but like the
stuff
Marvel
before
movies,
before that though wasn't.
But it was still under the Marvel banner. But what I mean is like, I mean, before the MCU, before they got it together, before they figured this shit out, you had these movies that, like, we were talking before, were very up and down.
But that's,
these were characters.
I'm going to fight you to the death on this. That was Sony and Fox, not Marvel.
See, look, I mean, you could put a banner on it, man. At the end of the day, it's, I mean, like fucking Disney, but at the end of the day, it's Marvel. It's Marvel products. It was still fucking Spider-Man 3. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was terrible. There were still Marvel characters. But it's like I said before, it's Marvel content, it's Marvel characters, it's Marvel movies. They finally got it right.
The problem Marvel did was selling off all their characters in the early 90s when they were going to go bankrupt. I mean, that's the first problem right there.
But to be fair, in a lot of ways, I know they've gotten them all back now practically, well, except for Hulk and Spider-Man. They're still two characters that they need to kind of play ball with.
Part rights holding or something, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I mean, they can't make a solo Hulk movie due to Universal being
producing rights, I think.
Yeah, they're producing rights, so there's like little Spider-Man and the Hulk. They kind of like have to play ball on, but yeah, it was Feige. When Feige kind of came in and took over that whole kind of concept, and then Favreau kind of like delivered Iron Man to us. They were off to the races. They figured that out. You know what I mean? And they really had a plan in place. But no, I mean, I just think all these new, like, you know, like, I mean, because even with Scooby-Doo, like, they're doing a Daphne origin story.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically her character, but it's like how she became the Daphne that ended up with the Scoop Troop, like, you know.
This is my original point. Why make movies like this?
But I mean, I think it's happening because of just it's becoming a thing where
lack of creativity as well. I would.
It could be a lack of creativity, man. And we talked about it before. It's like, you know, I mean, if it's not a fucking sequel, it's a remake. Or if it's not, they're just branching out and doing other stories and other characters.
Just the guys in the comments there, Josh said, as solo movies, I think it's a great introduction to the casuals. That's a great point. As a part of larger narrative, I'm all for like Morbius and Venom 2.
Yeah.
Monkey Jeebus said they should deal with Dr. Doom's mom being in hell. And Josh agreed with Monkey and said, show off his damaged psyche because he's many failed attempts at trying to free her. Like, yeah, Dr. Doom is an absolute goldmine of a character.
That's what I mean.
If they get right once, there is so much good shit
I
there,
would like take all my fucking money. Give me a movie on just Dr. Doom. Like, even if that's how they bring him in, give us a fucking movie. You know?
Like what I would love about Doom is what they did with Loki. Have him appear in a bunch of movies and then give him a TV series.
Yeah. And really, and then you could dig into all that backstory. Do you know what I mean? No, I think Doom is a great choice. I mean, Obviously, as I said, you were saying about the Fantastic Four to get Doom right, but I think Doom is such a fucking fractured, twisted, fucking like just psychologically fucked up character in his own head.
And
He's
he's
just because he is psychologically messed up. He's not physically
Mm.
messed up. He's very psychologically broken. And a bit of a narcissist and a fucking to boot as well, you know.
and a proud um leader of his country as well. Which
Exactly.
is
So I mean, you could lead
so
into
much you
all
could
that. Like,
touch on there. Like,
I wonder, and I don't know if anyone agrees with me here, but I wonder, will they play into Wakanda with Doom?
you could, but rather
Will there
they
be a link there?
I would rather they introduce Namor into Black Panther.
Because the reason I ask is, as I said, this is all speculation. I don't know Kevin Feige. I don't have him on speed dial. I haven't got a clue what the fucking dude is doing.
Unfortunately.
But do you think in the MCU, not the comic books, not anything like that, but in the MCU, do you think Doom's suit will be made of vibranium? And do you think there's a link to Wakanda because of his suit? Like, do you think they will do something that links him to it?
Very possibly, because
We've heard rumors that like floating around that like the, you know what I mean? I know everyone's saying Namor. What's his name?
Namor.
Namor. Man, I'm fucking up names left, right, and center tonight. But I've seen some rumors and shit floating around that like there was possibly
Good pun floating around there.
But they were looking at possibly Doom as the villain in Black Panther too.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, what I would love to see Namor, however you say his name, because he's very similar to Doom. He can be a bad guy, but he can also be a good guy. But he's always a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
I want more characters like that.
The question I have to you is as well about the Doom scenario. If it was even attached to Black Panther. Now, obviously, they're not going to just like have him suited up, and then again, they could, because when Peter Parker came in, he had already been bitten, and Uncle Ben was already dead. He was already Spider-Man. It can be done, but do you reckon it's a thing of like, if they do decide to go that route, that they bring him in as Victor Von Doom, not Doctor Doom, and over time he becomes the villain, like the guy in the suit? You think they bring him in as Victor Von Doom first as a regular character?
Like, do you remember years ago there was a theory going around for the Fantastic Four movie where they were trapped in the negative zone in the 60s, and they came out then during the snap, maybe, I don't know. I think that
could be. I mean, I've also heard theories that they're stuck in the quantum realm.
Realm.
Yeah, the quantum realm. That's what the one I heard is like they've been in the MCU all along. They've been just trapped in time.
Because Ant-Man 3 is all about Kang, and he's linked to the Fantastic Four as well.
Oh yeah, okay.
So like, and it's called Ant-Man and the Wasp and the Quantumania or something. It's called.
I mean, because and that's not a fucking out of the realm of possibility either. I mean, that would be a very easy thing for them to do if they just like pull them out of the quantum realm. But I think all of this, genuinely, and this is only a personal opinion, but I think all of these new characters and these new story arcs and these new changes, I think it all stems to the Multiverse of Madness. I genuinely think that that's going to be the movie that just opens the floodgates.
Again with the Namor pun. Josh says, I'm sure there was a Latveria reference in the Black Panther movie, and a vibranium suit would be the way to go. Yeah, I think there was too. I think there was actually an Atlantis Easter egg back in Iron Man 2 at the end.
Right.
It was on the map. Remember this? There was a map in the background where Fury was talking to Tony Stark.
That was Wakanda, dude.
There was a mark for Wakanda, and there was a mark next to it in the sea as well. So I think that could be something. Monkey Jeebus says, now this is dark, and I don't know if the Marvel would have the balls to do it. He said Namor should wipe out Wakanda with a tidal wave, like in the comics, and T'Challa is a casualty. Now, I think if they did something like that, there is no way back for Namor as a good guy, kind of.
Oh, do you know something? I don't think he needs to be a good guy, because I think outside of obviously outside of like Loki and Thanos so far. That's kind of one thing. And Killmonger was pretty fucking badass. But I think overall, the Marvel villains are the things that seem to be the weakest link in their process. They're very expendable, if you get me.
Yeah.
Even Hela was fucking amazing.
Yeah, gone too soon.
Oh, you know, they just do that. So maybe his name again, because I'm going to butcher it.
Namor.
Maybe Namor needs to be that asshole. Maybe he needs to be that villain that is unredeemable.
But I think like they're going to do the Illuminati eventually, which Namor is part of, so they need him around. I think anyway, personally. But I could be wrong.
What I mean is, that was my foot. I mean, but it's the movie version. It's the MCU version. Did you actually see the rumor flying around at the moment about Deadpool 3?
No.
Apparently, there might not be a Deadpool 3.
Oh, I heard there was one site fucking reported that Ryan Reynolds was having.
Now, I've seen it on a couple more since, but obviously, as I said, it's the internet, so take it with a grain of salt. But apparently, it's creative differences. Apparently, is what's been rumored.
Yeah, none of the big sites reported. It was one dodgy site, and the copied and pasted this.
Yeah, I only said I'd throw it out there because I had seen it. As I said, it's just, I mean, who knows with the internet what the fuck is true and what's not now. Like
Feige has said as recently as 2 weeks ago that there's definitely Deadpool 3 will be R-rated. So I mean, I don't know.
I hope Deadpool 3, opens the door for like an R-rated Blade instead of it being like a PG-13.
We'll see.
I mean, but then again, you could still make Blade fucking amazing under that thing. And who, man? I mean, I think obviously, without a shadow of a doubt, Deadpool 3 needs to be R-rated. But even if it wasn't, how fucking funny would it be if he tried to curse and he keeps getting bleeped and stuff?
Yeah,
and I would love that. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool lose his shit because he knows he's breaking fourth wall continuously because he knows he's in a fucking movie, and everyone else around him doesn't understand what's happening or like just doesn't even.
I just want him to
so many
reference the Disney deal.
Yeah.
Damien said in the comments, Dr. Doom and Claw team up would be great. Andy Serkis is not dead yet, and Namor will be on soon with Kang as the villain. Phase 5, yeah, possibly. Okay, so we kind of got sidetracked there. We were talking about side characters, and we ended up going off on a Marvel Universe deep dive.
Yeah, we went way off on that one,
as happens. But I just wanted to mention one or two more before we move on from the subject. I think the biggest success in my own eyes has been Bumblebee, because we finally got a Transformers film that wasn't just giant smashing robots. It had a story and it had heart and a personality.
I still haven't seen it.
What?
It's on my Netflix playlist for the last year, and I'm like, I get to that.
Go watch it, dude. It's a fantastic movie.
But look, let's be honest. What happens, Brian knows me pretty well. And Brian will say, hey, man, watch that movie. And I'm like, I will totally get to that this week. And then Brian will say, hey, what are you up to? I was like, what do you think I'm watching? Well, what do you think I'm doing? He was like, you're watching. It's always one of three, right? It's either like the 70s show or Scrubs or something like that I'm always fucking deep diving into when I can't get my brain working. But so yeah, your second point?
My second point was Cruella de Vil is getting her own movie. Now, this is where the line draws for me. Why does a villain who skins puppies in her origin story get a fucking movie?
Because everyone has an origin story, Brian. And let me throw one back at you.
Go on.
If the puppies can have an origin story, then why can't Cruella? Because Cruella in the original movie is the most entertaining part of that whole fucking film. Without Cruella de Vil and the puppy stealing and all that, that movie is just two fucking people going, we have a lot of dogs, right? Should we get rid of a few of them?
Being honest,
then you just started seeing them off in the dogs in the background, like off camera, of course.
I would rather if they did a movie of the Mr. Burns parody of the 101 Dalmatians.
No, I mean, look, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. it's a weird one. It's like if they did Beauty and the Beast, but it's Gaston's story. It's not like it's his origin story, not to do with Beauty or Belle or the Beast or anything like that.
It's like
Yeah,
Maleficent.
this exactly perfect example. Now that did all right tie into the original story.
That
But
has 2 films, doesn't it?
yeah, there's 2 of them. It probably never should have had 2 films, but there you go. But yeah, I think and this
Well,
is and I
financially.
don't think this is film media in general. I think this is very much a new design Disney are on at the moment. They're like they seem to be going down this route of like giving like the villains origin stories and remaking all of the original classics. It seems to me like this
That's a
very much.
conversation for another day.
No. But I'm not going into that. But what I mean is, it seems to be a design for a newer generation. They're taking all the old characters we grew up with. They're giving like you said, Cruella's getting her own origin story film. Kids will see that and go like, "Oh, what's that off of? Oh, 101 Dalmatians. Oh, actually, so happens we're making a live action 101 Dalmatians. You should go see that too, kids. Because it's for this generation. It's not for us." But I saw the trailer for it, and I have to admit, I think it looks bonkers, man. It's pure Disney to the highest point. But Emma Stone, I'll watch that girl in anything. I think she's brilliant. But I was interested. I was actually looking at the trailer, going, I don't hate this. Like I genuinely actually think I would watch this movie.
Some comments. Monkey Jeebus says
Yeah,
Bumblebee is really good. It's like Shark Circuit with Transformers. Oh my god, I love Shark Circuit. Johnny 5 is alive.
do you know, on the vein of what we're talking about here, that is being remade.
Oh.
Yeah, when I heard that news, a little bit of me died inside as well. I was like, oh man, fucking do that. Don't that's a remake in Mac and Me. It's a fucking classic for a reason.
Yeah. Josh says almost seems like the trend is humanizing villains. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
They look at Thanos. He just wanted to kill everybody in the comics, and they made him out to be a human rights.
Can I ask you a question?
Guy. Yeah.
Do you think that the MCU movies gave Thanos a better a better character design than the comic books? Because like in the movies he had a fucking purpose. Like his purpose was laser focused. Like he wasn't just trying to impress, like that.
You know what it was? You know what it was for me, right? Thanos in Infinity War was amazing. He had a purpose. It had a point. But then look at Thanos in Endgame that came back from the past.
It was like they completely undid the whole thing.
He was the opposite. He just wanted to kill everyone to make sure no one came back and undid it. He was more like the comic version, I think.
Do you know what it was? It was like they had 2 versions. It's like they designed 2 versions of him. Like one was closer to the source material, and I agree with you. Infinity War's version for me genuinely was fantastic.
But then again, though, if I saw myself and my head is chopped off in another future 3 years from now, I'd be pretty pissed.
I'm on a stream. Yeah, my daughter's saying goodnight to me.
Good night, Grace.
Good night, Grace.
Will Not says in the comments, origin stories about the bad guys. Short Circuit remake or sequel? Is it a remake, Tubbs, or sequel?
It's from what I'm hearing, it's a remake. Or no, sorry, not a remake. It's a reboot. So take that fucking for what you will. I don't know. It's a rebooted sequel. They're fucking remaking it basically.
Sort of the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think they just should. They like to throw around nice words on these things. It's a remake, which kind of fucking sucks. I only watched it recently, man, and it actually still fucking. It looks terrible.
I've seen both of the Short Circuits pretty recently.
Watch it with the eyes you have in 2021. It's just. But it's like watching the Ghostbusters in them. They've aged. It's fucking evident they've aged. But it's still fucking entertaining as well.
No, the Ghostbusters is amazing. I can't wait for the next one. So we're we're at an hour and a half, more or less. So I could start another topic, but I think I'll save it for next week because I wanted to talk about Disney Plus and Star, but I have a lot of thoughts about that. So we will save it for next week. Guys, Josh, Monkey Jeebus, Damien, everyone else in the comments, Will, thank you so much for coming along and having the chats with us. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, have a great week, guys. It's Sunday. So me personally, I'm off to watch AEW Revolution tonight.
I will also be watching AEW Revolution, and Brian can sort me out with a fucking link.
Well, I will be buying it, Tubbs. Don't be saying
buy it for me. I'm your screen wife. Buy it for me. Come on.
But yeah, before we go, guys, any wrestling fans in the comments, because we can talk about this shit as well. We do a Monday show as well. It's not
for another
live.
Few weeks anyway.
It's not live, but we're finishing it up pretty soon. It's called Retro Wrestling Chat, and it goes up at 10 p.m. GMT, where we talk about previous old matches. We're ending that in 8 weeks, is it, Tubbs, or 6 weeks?
6 weeks now, dude.
So yeah, check that up while it's going. Damien said Thanos is fantastic, but I also think Annihilus, Korvac, and Kang will be ace too. Bye, folks. See you, Damien. Have a great week. And Josh said, cheers, brethren. Cheers, Josh. We'll come back again next week, dude. Great chatting.
Yeah,
and
man.
Monkey Jeebus said Kurt Angle to AEW. Tubbs will only love that.
Monkey Jeebus, I'm telling you, me and Brian had a conversation about this last night. It's not happening. He actually came out and said it today that the video packages that were being put up on Twitter were actually for his new podcast. So he kind of trolled the entire wrestling world. But never say never, because AEW is probably going to get him eventually.
Tubbs is a massive Kurt Angle mark.
Not a mark. Fucking not a mark, right? I am a fan. I enjoy his.
I will tell you guys right now, right? Within moments of Kurt Angle posting that video, Tubbs said to me, Kurt Angle is the new guy. Kurt Angle is the new guy.
No, I didn't. I did the speculation mode. I was like, do you reckon that it's actually Kurt Angle? But I've said it to you. I have a feeling it's going to be Christian. I think it's going to be, you're going to see the new version of Christian Cage in AEW. That's where I'm landing on anyway.
That's what I think as well. But
I don't think Punk is signing. I would love it. If seeing Punk shut up in AEW, I would lose my shit. But I don't think it's happening. I think Punk has gone the route of Bret Hart.
Yeah, been whinging about everyone else.
Yeah, he's gotten very whingy and bitter towards the wrestling, like so.
And final comment of the night goes to Josh Kincaid. I want Paul White's new T-shirt. No more BS, and I do.
It's a really clever shirt. I have to admit. Good.
So, guys, with that, no more BS, and we are out of here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and tell your friends because they're awesome. Man. And we'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for joining in. Love you all. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye. Bye. Are we still live? We're still live. He told me we